welcome traders to our post-week market review. So jumping straight into things here from where the market opened up. Obviously we did speak about this in our midweek technical analysis, but I will briefly go over it now. As you can see, the market opened up bullish. We then saw a bearish drop with price eventually finding support at around the level of 4,045. From there, throughout the London session, we saw a break of structure of this level of around 4,060 with price continuing on in a bullish fashion. Price ended up testing the level of 4,145 a few times until we saw that clean break of structure throughout the Asian session on Wednesday. Price then reenacted what we saw when price came to test this level as a resistance, but in the opposite, and tested it as a support multiple times, as you can see, until we saw that break of structure again in the Friday's Asian session. Overall, price consolidating throughout these levels here, throughout this space here, so sort of the early hours of Wednesday all the way up until the late hours of Thursday, until we saw that clean break of structure, and again seeing that break and retest pattern where price broke structure and then retested on this previous level of resistance. As you can see, price found a resistance at around this level here, and then price came back down to test it as a support, indicated here. And then from there, throughout the sort of London session, New York session, all the way up until market close on the Friday, we saw bullish momentum carrying price all the way up to where it's finished at around 4,237. So overall, conclusion for the market this week has been bullish. Obviously the start of week we saw that big bullish impulse, the end of week we saw that big bullish impulse, and in between that we saw bullish momentum and bullish movement, but just in a more consolidating fashion, where price was sort of moving up and down. So nice trading, nice sort of trading area there, nice price action for trading throughout sort of that midweek, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But we will now zoom out. So you have obviously we have no levels marked up here, but there are levels that we do want to take into account. As you can see, the area where price has come to is an area where we've seen price test as a resistance before we saw this initial bearish drop here. As you can see as well, we also have these levels here that we can now start taking into account. These are the levels when price pushed up to that all-time high of around 4,380. And we also have a level that we can take into account right here. We can actually just move this down a little bit just to sort of catch, and the reason I'm moving the level is because that was a value area high or a value area low, so it's not really what we're looking at. But what I'll do is I'll change that into a normal point of interest, and then we're looking for price where price is tested as both resistance and support. So you can see that price tested this level as a resistance, and we also see that level of support trying to be held. So we can drag that into the future. You can go ahead and have a look, and you can see that that's that same area where price came up to before we saw that bearish rejection, and price is just about there. However, with the overall bullish momentum that we have seen for this last week, we will expect price to break through this level and push to our next point of interest, which is around the level of 4,270. However, if we do see bearish momentum and possible signs of sellers entering the market to try and take control, we will expect price to potentially come down to that bottom level of around 4,170. For price to break structure, obviously we need price to break through this level here of around 4,195. So if price comes down and tests this level here and doesn't act as a support and completely fails at this level, we'll then have that break of structure, or sorry, that flipped pattern, as we are no longer seeing higher highs and higher lows being created. Obviously, for this level to be broken, that would then mean a lower low. So at the moment, we are seeing higher highs and higher lows, and that's what we're going to continue to expect throughout the next week. We could see some bearish momentum start the week when market opens tonight at 10 p.m. GMT, but we'll have to sort of be patient and just sort of wait and see how price develops. So with that being said, that's pretty much it for our post-week market review. As always, I hope you have all enjoyed, and I will catch you in our midweek technical analysis.